identical sports bike. For those of you who don't know, I'm MainiacMoto. This is 8-Bit Rider.
What's up?
We both live in Maine and we're amazing. So we're going to be talking about some motorcycles and we're going to be talking about some other stuff. Just talking about the new FZ10 and how that compares to like the other Euro bikes and like, but here's the funny thing. They were talking about it and they were like, they're doing things that Euro bikes have been doing for a long time, but the FZ10 is kind of a first for the Japanese market because they're doing things the Euro bikes have been doing. That's not characteristic of the Japanese. Like, it even looks European.
There's a lot happening on that bike. On the FZ10, there's a lot going on that thing.
It's cool. But like, even with like the high-vis wheels, like the anodized, are they anodized or just painted?
They're just painted, I think.
Either way.
Or powder coat. I think they're powder coated, actually.
Maybe powder coated, yeah. Whatever the methodology, they're getting Euro. They're very with that bike. That's what they've done.
Because they understand what their customers want.
Right. Well, and I think they understand that like the Europeans aren't the only ones that can do that kind of stuff.
We were talking about Ducati and BMW and how, you know, they're, you know, you got your fanboys, just like you got your Harley fanboys, you got and then you got BMW, and they're just simply better because, and I'm a bit of a KTM fanboy. The Super Duke has a special place in my heart right now.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But I can't even make that argument. I can't be like, well, you got KTM, we're just doing it for better for less, which they're not. They're not at all.
They're not.
You know, the Super Duke R is still like 17K, and the new GT is going to be 20,000 in US dollars. So it's like, yeah, I can't even make that argument. But you can't argue that it's not a nice bike. That's basically what we're boiling it down to.
Yeah, well, you could argue though that it's a better bike than a lot of the like surrounding market.
I could, but it's, you know,
but the price is still comparable.
Exactly. It's like. But then you got Yamaha, and we're doing what they've always done, and they're doing roughly the same thing. They're bringing in roughly the same, like a lower level of technology, but still really dependable and still really competitive for a much lower list price.
Yeah, and it's not so much that it's a lower level of electronics, it's just that there's less of them. There's just less options. Because it like when they were doing a naked bike ABS shootout, and the FZ1 outperformed everybody else.
Because Yamaha,
the FZ10, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Yamaha like simply focuses on that performance and quality before they do. Well, it's always slightly like the plastics are always cheap, like cheaper feeling and stuff, and your controller a little bit clunkier. But if you can look past that, you'll always have a really well-performing bike.
I think the thing with the Japanese is they're either very polished and very boring, or like very raw and very exciting. And I think that's the difference between Honda, tends to be the difference between Honda and Yamaha. Yamaha tends to be like very raw and very exciting, and not a whole lot of like, they don't really smooth out the edges so much, you know what I mean? Like, they're not really rounding the corners too much. On the other hand, you've got Honda, which is like, I want to make this as perfectly engineered as possible in almost every single way, and then you get this boring, you know, NCX 700. You got to choose your poison with the Japanese, whereas the Europeans are like, we are so flashy, you know, and they polish things up really nice, but then they do stupid things like they mount the exhaust right underneath the seat so you're boiling lava hot. I don't know. I'm not sold that any of the markets are better. It's just about rider preference at that point.
Look at this guy.
I know. Nicky. Oh! I was going to try to talk to him, but he just blew away.
That seems to be the impression all Harley riders give me, though, when they see me on this thing. They were like, oh, it's a sport bike rider.
Oh, great.
I don't want anything to do with him.
Another friggin' sport bike. He's guy probably does wheelies and is a douchebag. Except
Wheelies-
minus the douchebag part.
Except wheelies scare me, lol. Because this thing's so aggressive with it, and the sad part is this isn't even really that powerful of a bike.
Well, and you have no TCS or anything, too.
No,
so
no, it just hooks and goes.
You've got nothing to, like, help you out if things go wrong.
Not at all. Not at all.
I've been thinking about it a lot, and I'm like, what do I want here? What do I actually want out of this bike?
What you want is an FJ09. That's what you
No.
want.
I mean, yes, but no. Just can't justify the cost.
Of
I
course you
can't
can.
do it. I can't do it.
If I can justify wanting to get a $20,000 sport touring bike, you can justify a $10,000 FJ09. All right? And for the viewers at home, this bike is not $20,000. Not even close. This bike's MSRP is like $4K. I'm talking about my future bike, the KTM Super Duke 1290 GT.
They're just so new that you can't get them used for very cheap. That's my problem. The Teneray's been around a little longer.
The Teneray, though, I can't. I don't know. It's the nose. I just can't get past the nose.
I agree.
The headlights. It's like
The headlights look stupid.
It's like a pig nose. It's
for sure. But if you look at the gray model or the black model, I could get used to it. The blue one, ugly as sin. I would never get a blue one.
I saw the one at Natty Power Sports. I'm like, oh no, no. What? They thought this was a good idea? What?
Yeah, and you sent me that. You're like, oh, they got a blue one at Natty, and I was like, no, heck no. Those things are homely.
Did you get to say goodbye to the FC1?
Yeah, and it was, I almost started welling up because I was like, we just had the long trip together. Like, we just went to Seattle. I'm sorry. You and your friggin' frame sliders.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
This one's loose.
Oh, it's loose?
This one, yeah, for some reason they like. It happened with the last set I had on this thing too.
Ah.
Was the threads will back out slightly, and I can just free spin it. Like.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's the strangest thing. But it's just an Allen wrench and just wrenching it back down again. But I'm not gonna get a torque wrench just specifically to set the torque on my frame slider. So I'm not gonna look that spec up. I'm just as a single man, I just can't do it.
Yeah, that butt.
Baby. Oh, so sticky.
I was getting a close up on that booty.
There's the opening right there.
Yeah. No. What really happened is Britain is now an American colony. Oh! America went in and colonized Britain because screw you.
How crazy would that be?
How ironic. They send out colonists and then 300 years later they colonize them. Got you
look
good?
at that.
Oh, you knew we'd be back.
You knew we'd be back. That threat. You knew it.
You knew we'd be back. You just didn't know when. Why me?
Why me? Immediately spills his tea everywhere. Oh!
He spills his tea everywhere. There's the Prime Minister like watching it on the TV or something. He's like, blimey! Oh! It's like spills tea all over himself.
Do you remember RuneScape?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course you remember RuneScape.
Oh, yeah.
You remember how we always played on the UK server?
Yes.
I had no idea we were playing on the UK server for the longest time. I remember playing with somebody, like somebody I met on RuneScape, and I remember playing with them, and they're like, I gotta go. I'll be back. It's tea time. And I had no idea they actually do have tea every day at noon. Because I was like, no, you've got to be kidding me. That's a joke. That's got to be a joke.
It's tea time.
Like tea time, like no, that's a thing. It actually happens.
That's amazing.
The whole of Britain stops for a half hour every day at noon.
I feel like America is one of the few countries that doesn't do something in the middle of the day consistently.
Everybody goes to lunch, but at the same time, it's never consistently the same
No,
time.
it's not. Like, okay, the Spanish and like the Mexicans and stuff have like a siesta in the middle of the day.
What?
And like everybody goes home. Like they leave school and they go home for an hour and they eat and then they sleep.
What? What?
I am not joking. They have it's called a siesta, and it happens every single day.
You know how good productivity in the United States would be if that was reality?
And then, of course, there's tea time. And like,
tea time.
I don't know. I'm sure the French have something like snail time or something. I don't know, but like they all seem to have it except for us.
Yeah,
I'm not really complaining. It's just so funny.
America, get on it.
Get on it, America.
Obama.
Figure this out.